Yes, indeed. Your boy Ike Jones is back, and we are talking more Auburn basketball. I know we talked about it a little bit on the weekend tailgate, but we got off of there a little early so we could do a little post game reaction and it be all about basketball. We are here, LAUB Town. Hopefully, everybody is having a wonderful Sunday. If you want to get in and talk a little basketball, I am here for you. Your boy Ike Jones in here. As always, I want y'all to do the necessary. Get out there and spread the word about what we got going over here with the War Report. Share the video at the War Report on all social media. You can like the video. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ike Jones in here talking about the Auburn victory versus USC, 91-75 in convincing fashion versus South Carolina versus Southern California as they came into Neville Arena. Some get back for last year because they put it on them pretty bad last year when we went to make the trip out west. But Auburn able to get away with the victory this time, and a lot of really good performances out here for Auburn basketball. I appreciate everybody who's jumping in here. The LAUB Town, we had some good LAUBs out here happening during this game. Not going to be before y'all very long. Ain't going to be before y'all very long. We just did a whole long live stream with the weekend tailgate, so I'm not going to take a long time. But we are going to talk about this game. Let's take a look at the stat lines for your Auburn Tigers during this game. Leading scorer for Auburn was Aiden Holloway, shooting 5 of 10, 4 of 7 from 3 for Aiden Holloway on this game. He added 6 assists and 2 rebounds. He did a really good job, I think, of stretching the floor. I think, all 3 of the 3-point misses he had were like 4 feet beyond the 3-point line. Like, he played well in this game. Didn't take a lot of bad shots. Really good pace and tempo that he played with, leading scorer there. Jalen Williams, great job for the team. He as well put up a double digits in the scoring. Scored 14 points, 12 of those coming in the first half of the game. So Jalen Williams, really good job. 6 of 10 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. Both of those 3-pointers coming really early in the contest. So a good job for him being out there and getting what he needed to have happen. Another 2 assists, 3 rebounds for him overall on the day. Next, you've got Janai Broome with 11 points during this game. 4 of 14, not really a great shooting night for Janai. Missing a couple of bunnies on the inside, the little mid-range left-hand situation. Of course, he's left-handed, he's doing that. But 3 of 3 from the free throw line. That is the key thing. If Janai Broome can shoot well from the free throw line, he's always going to be a double-digit scorer because he gets fouled a lot more than he's getting whistles for. Only had 2 total rebounds in this game. Is that real? Am I reading that correctly? 3 total rebounds in this game. Didn't dominate right there, but 4 block shots for Janai Broome in this game. So he did do a good job of patrolling the defensive paint for Auburn in this one. Double-digit score again here for Denver Jones, who has come on in these last couple of games offensively. Only took 4 shots, but hit 2 of those, both of them being big 3-point buckets there, and 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Denver Jones has been solid from the free throw line all year. No surprise there. Dylan Cardwell, though, that's the guy that, to me, if I'm giving player of the game type of stuff, I loved what Dylan Cardwell did for this team on both ends of the floor. In his 17 minutes, he's able to come up with 11 points, 4 of 5 shooting on there, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. He even took a 3-pointer out there at the end of the game for no reason whatsoever. But hey, he did make it. But good job on him during this game. 5 boards, 3 steals, and 2 block shots. For me, he controlled this game from both ends of the floor. From the effort that he was getting, sometimes it wasn't a rebound. It was him tipping the ball to somebody else. Solid screens, rim running, forcing difficult shots even when he wasn't getting the shot block. Some very emphatic shot blocking happening from him out there. I loved what Dylan Cardwell brought from an energy standpoint to this team today. Amazing job by Dylan Cardwell today. Chad Baker-Mazar put in 7 points. Trey Donaldson, another 7. I think Trey had an amazing game controlling the pace. Assist-wise, let's see what he had on the day. 5 assists to 1 turnover during this game. Amazing job for him being out there playing with pace and tempo, right? When we needed to speed it up, he was able to do that. When they needed to slow it down, he was able to do that effectively as well. Great job of him. 3 of 4 shooting for him. Overall on the game, Auburn shot 47.5% from the field. That's a really good shooting game from them. 38.1% from 3. Again, that's a tough team to beat that controls you defensively the way that Auburn does and is going to shoot 38% from three. Amazing game for him there. 78% from the free throw line. That's not, great, but that's admirable. Auburn can live with a 78% free throw shooting day. When you talk about the comparative things that we have here versus USC, they were 40% from the field, shooting 24 of 60. Not a great shooting day. They shot 32% from three. I just think that Auburn did a really good job of forcing them into making tough baskets the entire night. Free throw percentage, they shot 81% there. Turnovers, though. Auburn forced 15 turnovers in this game. That's the kind of, 15 to 8 there. Auburn had 8 turnovers, 15 turnovers. A lot of those live ball turnovers. If you heard me talk about, and we will talk a little bit about women's basketball here because LAUB, we're covering both teams there. But today, the immediacy of it is, we'll probably not talk about women's basketball today, but we will talk about on the LAUB later on this week. Looking forward to getting into that. But live ball turnovers are what allow you to fuel your transition. And Auburn did a good job of getting that. As far as points off of turnovers, Auburn had 19 in this game to USC only having 5. You limit the number of turnovers you have, get some live ball turnovers, and get out in a transition. Auburn did a good job of doing that, of pushing the pace on turnovers, whether that is, and it really in rebounds as well, really pushing the pace of that. 42 points in the paint, 36 points scored off of the bench there for Auburn in this game. Really just a total team effort to go out here, and what I would say is a dominant game. I mean, the score at the end, 75-91, shows dominance. I don't even think the final score shows how dominant Auburn was in this basketball game. This is one of those games that Auburn, I think, had circled on their calendar. I know they had circled on their calendar. When you hear them talk about the aftermath of what happened in the last game of UNC Asheville, how they felt like they looked past Appalachian State a little bit and weren't as focused as they needed to be, didn't want to repeat those mistakes versus UNC Asheville, go out there and play a complete basketball game versus them, and then turn their focus to USC, which was going to be a marquee matchup, and the people were going to be talking about it. They were focused on going out here and proving that they could get a dominant victory against a team that people are hyping up a lot. You hear on the broadcast them talking about Isaiah Collier and how he's potentially going to be a number 1 draft pick coming out of the this season already, right? The hype around Bronny James and what he's able to provide for this team, both of those being McDonald's All-Americans. They knew from a standpoint of, yes, they've got all of the guys that have the hype. There's nobody on Auburn's basketball team that is potentially going to be a number 1 overall pick. Janai Broome got some good NBA looks during this past offseason, but nobody's putting him up there for, Naismith Awards or anything like that, or potentially being the number 1 draft pick. They took it personally that they feel like they're a basketball team, but they are not going to get the hype that some of these other teams have been getting. So they went out here and they wanted to make sure that they proved a point on a very big nationally televised game that they are the better basketball team. I think that they walked away doing that. The physicality that they brought to this game, the dedication that they brought on the defensive end of the court, all of those things get you to a place where Auburn is looking good right now, overall record-wise, and then just the way that this team is able to present so many waves of depth that teams have to be able to go out there and deal with. I'm going to go over here to the comment section and see what you all are talking about here. I appreciate you guys jumping back in here on another live broadcast with me. If you haven't shared the video, go ahead and do that. Ben Bloodworth's going to get us jumped off with saying, War Eagle, best game of the year? ? I have to say that this is probably the most complete game that Auburn has played this year. Most complete game. Not going to be the biggest margin of victory, but 2 halves of good basketball being played. I think that this is the most complete game. Auburn started strong. They weathered a couple of runs by USC to close the margin under 10, but then pushed that margin back out. They shot the ball effectively at all ranges, whether that's interior or from 3. They shot the ball well from the free throw line, decently from the free throw line, forcing turnovers without giving the ball up a ton. Still a little bit to the personal foul thing, right? Like you've got 22 total personal fouls, and they were even with both teams having 22 apiece. Chris Moore having 4. We're not going to get into the technical foul situations that happened on a couple of those calls. I understand why the call was being made. Feels a little silly, but whatever on those 2 situations there. But Chris Moore with 4 fouls there, Denver Jones with 3, KD Johnson with 3, Dylan Cardwell with 3. Still got to do, I think, a better job of defending without fouling in some scenarios, especially if you heard me talk about on the weekend tailgate, some of the silly fouls that you're getting that don't need to be fouls in those scenarios. You're just kind of reaching and doing stuff that isn't necessary. But yes, I would say this is probably the best win overall for this team this season. Let's see. P-Pass says, random off the court, get the regional final reservations ready. A lot of basketball left to be played in this season, but Auburn is looking really good. I am looking forward to seeing how this team continues to progress because, I say that this is the best game so far. I still think that they have better basketball that they can play left in them. So I am looking forward to seeing how they continue to progress this season. If they are able to get the kind of performance they got from Jalen Williams and Dylan Cardwell as your forwards and center in this game, I talked about this on the broadcast earlier today. Tough basketball team to beat when you've got those two guys playing the way that they did today. Very tough basketball team to beat. What this team, I think, has needed, and if you heard me talk about this earlier, is someone patrolling the paint and really being a rim protector. Dylan Cardwell did a really fantastic job of that today. Still can do a little bit better, right? Like, I just, listen, of course, Walker Kessler is kind of the gold standard that rim protectors are going to be judged by here at Auburn for the future here. You had a guy like Mamadou Njai in his time here, but I think Walker Kessler took it to another, I know Walker Kessler took that to another level as a rim protector for Auburn. So he's going to be the gold standard by which rim protection is going to be gauged going forward in an Auburn uniform. Dylan Cardwell, of course, has not met that level yet, but I think he has done a better job this season of being just a straight up he's got the length and the athleticism to be really good at shot blocking. And he has, I think, gotten better as the years have gone on at being able to do that. I loved the game that he poured in for us tonight in an Auburn uniform. TZ Kick saying, got my Lobtown hoodie on full boog mode. Loving it, baby. Appreciate y'all for supporting with the Lobtown situation. So I am looking forward to seeing more Lobtown t-shirts and hoodies out there floating around in the wild. Go ahead and get your Lobtown on warreport.com. Go get your Lobtown merch out there. We got the hoodies. We got the beanies. Y'all can go ahead and support that. Definitely appreciate it. Devin 21, good to see you back in the comment section. Fantastic game. I thought it would be closer, to be honest. Glad it wasn't. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was a little nervous for how they were going to come out and play during this game. I knew the home crowd was going to be jazzed about this because of a lot of the energy around this game. This game, again, has been circled on the calendar for not just the players, but for fans for a long time about the potential of, is LeBron James going to be there? Had a lot of recruits in the building for both football and basketball, so the energy's already charged around that sort of thing. And for them to go out there and be this impressive in this game, I think says a lot about the mental preparation that this team has specifically for big games. They have come in and they've locked in into the game plan, into the scout that they're putting out there for these teams, and they're executing that very well. I like what I saw from our basketball team today. Let's see here. Chris S. agrees that Cardwell is absolutely player of the game. Listen, man, he was a monster out there on both ends of the court. I don't think that there's any denying that he was a difference maker from just his energy and effort that he was giving. And then just statistically, he did what he needed to do out there. He has been, I think, playing really well this season overall, but you've seen him take steps and strides throughout this year. I'm looking forward to seeing as the physicality increases as we get into the SEC play, if he can continue to bring that kind of energy and effort on the interior. Auburn is going to be a tough team to deal with. They're going to be a tough out if you're getting that kind of Dylan Cardwell game. AU alum jumps in and says, Aiden is a beast. Our guard play is exceptional with Aiden, Trey, KD, and Denver Jones. Had a good game from the guards in this one. Let's look into some of the other stats from the other guards I didn't mention before, but I talked a little bit, but KD's the only one I really didn't mention. I talked a little bit about Denver Jones and what he did, but KD Johnson, 2 of 6 on this game, 0 of 2 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, only 5 points. But what you get from him and his effort is really good. I didn't think that KD had a particularly good game. I thought that early he was being, the turnovers that he had were bad turnovers. I thought he had some silly fouls that he committed earlier in this game, but I like the energy that he always brings to the team. And it wasn't a thing that I feel like inhibited the team from playing well overall. So he didn't have bad minutes. But he didn't have great minutes either. I think KD could have played better. If you get a quality KD game, we probably win by 30 in this, to be honest with you. Again, not a bad KD game by any means. I'm not going to sit here and crap on KD in a game that we won by the amount that we did. But Could have gotten a better game out of him for sure. Let's see who else we got jumping in here. I love all of the comments. I appreciate it. Brad Browning jumps in and says, how likely is it that Holloway tries to go pro? I think it's a little too early in the season to make any assumptions about what his pro prospects are. He's played like a freshman at times, and he's definitely shown he has the pro abilities. Him being 6'1" puts him right on the brink of what they would consider to be a pro prospect. He has the shooting ability for sure. It's a little early to answer this question for him, though. Like, if the season ended today, would Aiden Holloway go pro? I'd lean towards no. But he has some more growth and maturity that he can do in his game and playing his way into a first-round pick, which I think he would only go pro if he gets a first-round grade. And right now, I don't know that he's going to get that. But again, very early in the season to really be talking about pro Aiden Holloway. But he's got the game to be able to do that for certain. Sometimes you have to look at what is going to happen with some of the other guards, right? Like, are there other guards that you feel like are going to be up there in first-round ability that are going to be competing against him? But I think that he's got the ability to do that. But he still has some progressing I think that he needs to do to get to that place. Let's see. Let's see. What else are people talking about here? AU alum thinks that Indiana was the best game. Bruce Pearl would say that Indiana was probably the best game. I just don't. I mean, I think I like this game better than I liked the Indiana game from the standpoint of, like, it didn't all go right. Like, you had, like, I don't know that you could have played. And Bruce Pearl said this himself. I don't know that Auburn could have played better, right? And so from that standpoint, yes, I like to see a game where it didn't just all go right for you, but you still comfortably won the game. And that to me is the most complete game a basketball team can put together, or any team can put together, where it just didn't feel like every bounce went your way, every call went your way. Guys who don't normally make buckets are making buckets. Other than the emergence of Dylan Cardwell on the scoring end, this was probably the most complete game where everything didn't go Auburn's way and they still comfortably won, which is why I think that this was probably the best game of the season for them. But I'm not mad at Indiana being the best game in some people's assumption as well. I like that as well. Let's see. Get some people who I don't normally get in here. George Potter says, love the chemistry of this team. Denver Jones seems to be finding his stroke. I love the fact that these last two games for Denver Jones, he's been able to confidently step up and shoot the basketball. He's getting downhill back to what we saw in those earlier exhibition games from him. That Baylor game, I think he played. He played well, but he had started to show signs of that tentative nature. He's getting back into the Denver Jones that I think people expected to see from him. Again, for him, this game, 12 points on 2 of 4 shooting, perfect from the 3-point line and free throw line. That's the Denver Jones you need to be able to get. When he's confidently able to step up and shoot threes and stretch the defense. Again, this team's difficult to play offensively if you're going to have Jay Will shooting well and Denver shooting well. Now they can't just go to zone, right? Now, USC tried to go to a zone primarily in this game, saying to themselves, we're not going to let Auburn's size and physicality beat us in the post, and they took a strategic risk of that. Auburn ends up shooting on the day 8 of 21 from 3. Again, not a fabulous three-point shooting night, but a night that's good enough from 3 that allows those teams that want to play zone against Auburn to have to think twice about that. Can Aiden Holloway continue to shoot the ball like that? Denver shoot the ball like that? Chad Baker-Mazara shoot the ball like that? Jay Will shoot? If you've got 4 or 5 guys that now you've legitimately have to look at and say, we can't leave those guys open, then you've got to be way more aggressive on your zone and push out further, which is what USC was doing. They tried to extend the zone so that you weren't able to just shoot over the top. That leaves that middle area open for guys like Jay Will and Janai to be able to flash high and get the ball. And now you're being able to play. Usually what you're going to get is 3-on-2 basketball on the opposite side of that, and you're expecting that guy in the middle to make the right decision about pass or attack. I love what they were able to do against this zone early to shoot the ball and make them extend it, and then later in finding the middle of that zone and making them have to play basketball 3-on-2 after that. Wonderful job, a great job of them attacking the zone in the proper way during this game. Let's see. What else do we got here? Appreciate you guys jumping in with me. Oda, good to see you in the comment section. We should be top 18 come Monday. I mean, we just dolly-whopped 4 basketball schools, and it was never close. Listen, man, beating Indiana the way that you did, beating USC the way that you did, I think you've made a strong case for why Auburn should be a top 25 basketball team. Just winning this game, I think, gives you a case for that. Beating them in convincing fashion. You know, listen, UNC Asheville is a team that made the tournament last year. You beat the brakes off of them. Beat the brakes off of it. Like, it wasn't particularly close in any of these contests with these teams that have been, to Otis' point, traditional basketball schools, and you put it on them. Right? Neutral site game, home game, albeit like it wasn't on the road, but you definitely, Notre Dame's been traditionally pretty good in basketball. You beat the brakes off of them, right? Like, you've got some quality wins on your resume. The App State game, people are going to look at and say, oh, I don't know what to make of that. App State's a good basketball team, probably will make their way to the tournament again this season. And has been a solid basketball team, and you really played your worst game of the year against them. The Baylor game, you played a good game. You just had a poor second half in that one. So I don't think that there's, a game where you could look at and say that this isn't a top 25 caliber team, especially when you look at the landscape of some of the other teams that are in the top 25 and the resume that Auburn has versus theirs. I think you have a strong basis to say Auburn deserves to be in the top 25. Let's see here. Who else do we got in here? A lot of great comments. Efficient gaming. Good comment here. So it said, so glad to see LeBron's kid up and running again. With that said, War Damn Eagle. Definitely good to see Bronny James bouncing back and able to get out there and play basketball. I know that his mom was there in the building. They flashed her on the camera a couple of times. If LeBron James was there, then there's no way it would not be evident. So he was not there to make this game, but his mom was there. So good to see Bronny out there doing his thing. He had a solid game. I mean, look, we're not here to talk about them too much, but we can just look at Bronny, I guess. 1 of 4 from the field, 3 of 4 from the free throw line for a total of 5 points in this game. Only 1 turnover, 2 rebounds in 14 minutes, right? He had a solid game. Of course, the guy that everybody was talking about, Isaiah Collier, 13 points in the game. He was frustrated throughout this game. I think Auburn came in wanting to shut him down. Boogie Ellis dropping another 20-piece on Auburn back-to-back years, though, man. 22 points for that young man. 3 of 7 from 3 helped him to that. 7 of 15 overall shooting. 5 total rebounds for him, but he had 5 turnovers in this game, but only 3 assists. So that's really what kind of was a downfall of his game in that one. But he played another good offensive game for USC in this one. So good to see Auburn get a quality win versus a team that I think maybe came in a little overhyped because of Isaiah Collier. They remind me a little bit, not as bad. So, pardon me if this feels like I'm dissing USC out here. Not as bad, but they remind me a little bit of that Georgia team a couple of years ago. And when they had, what's the guy's name right now that's playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves? Brain farts happening right now. I'm seeing his face, but his name is not popping into my head. They remind me a little bit of that team that where they had this, this talent that everybody acknowledges is amazing and is going to be this first round guy, but the rest of the stuff around him didn't really meet up with the level of what the hype was around him. Anthony Edwards, thank you, Anthony Edwards. That team with them at Georgia, I think that Georgia team was bad, right? I think KD Johnson actually was on that team, but yeah, that team around him wasn't very good. So like you've got this guy in Isaiah Collier that's coming in as a one and done prospect that everybody's hyping up, going to be a lottery pick for sure by anybody's estimation today. And just the team is supposed to be great because you've got him as a McDonald's All-American potential lottery pick. You've got Bronny coming in, McDonald's All-American, all the hype around him, but they just haven't found it yet. And then you still got Boogie that's there playing for this team. So you're thinking, oh man, they've got this elite guard play. They're going to be a tough out, but they just, the turnovers, the youth on that team shows its points, and the frustration that they have at certain points, it shows. So they've got to be able to be a little bit better. in certain spots. They're going to be a tough team to beat, though, out there in the Pac. What's left of the Pac-12? When is the Pac-12 officially debunked or like, is it at the end of this basketball season? Is it into baseball? When are they officially no longer a thing? Like, does the clock reset on the conference when we get past the spring sports? I don't know how that works, but they are still the Pac-12 right now. And they're going to give some teams some problems in this final year of the Pac. So good luck to them the rest of the way out. But definitely a solid win for Auburn basketball today. They're probably going to go out there and roll the corner, all of that. So you're going to get the full Auburn experience. AU alum jumping in here says, trying to remember a deeper AU team. I can't think of one. You're going to listen. Bruce Pearl really kind of is one of the few coaches in recent history that even tries to build teams that can go 10 deep confidently. You see a lot of teams that will play 10 players, but it's rotationally heavy towards the first 5 to 6. So you'll have so let's look at the distribution of minutes here in this game. And I'm just going to run it down from Aiden Holloway to can I sort this by minutes played? I'll just call them from as I see it here. 26 minutes from Jay Will was the high minute person. You get 23 minutes from Janai, 23 from Aiden, and 23 from Denver. Then you get 22 off the bench from Chad Baker-Mazara. But then you're going to get 17 from KD Johnson, 11 from Chris Moore. Leo Berman got 8 minutes. Chaney, 14. Dylan Cardwell, 17, right? You got double-digit minutes up and down the roster for these guys. And this is not a one-game occurrence where, somebody was in foul trouble, they had to play more minutes. He's continuously playing guys 15 to 17 minutes off of the bench consistently. That's not typical, and that's just kind of a thing that Bruce Pearl likes to do. But with so little drop-off this year, I think is the amazing thing. Is like you're going to be like, I remember thinking about, there was a point in the game where Chris Moore was getting in foul trouble, and I was like, oh, man, we got to go to the bench. And I remember, you still got Chaney Johnson you can bring in. You still got Chad Baker-Mazara you could bring in. Like, it's waves. Like, it never really ends. You got one guy coming, like, when Aiden Holloway comes off the bench, you got Trey Donaldson's coming right back in after him, right? You got another guy who can control the pace of the game, who can knock down shots, who can be a floor general. When Denver Jones goes off the floor, KD Johnson's coming into the game, right? We can go with a bigger lineup and put Chad Baker-Mazara. Like, it's just, there's so many ways that they can figure out how to defend you differently, how they can attack you offensively. It's a very well put together basketball team. So I like what I'm seeing in this game. And yeah, to your point, I don't know that you're going to see a team that's going to be this deep. It's just not normal. It's really not normal for again, no stellar all-star, surefire lottery pick guy on this team, but everybody on this team is really, and then you do have a potential NBA guy in Aiden and a potential NBA guy in Janai to be able to anchor the team that teams now have to come in. I love, the fact that USC came out in a zone. What it said to me is Janai Broome is not going to be getting shots up against us consistently in the paint because Janai was, a focal point. We're pack the zone and not let them hurt us on the interior. But then, all right, cool. Aiden's going to have a good game. Jay Will's going to step out and shoot. Denver Jones going to step out and shoot. Chad Baker-Mazara can hurt you from the 3. It's a tough team to be able to have a good strategy against because they can attack you in so many different ways. So looking forward to seeing what happens with this team as we get into SEC play coming up here soon. All right, I wasn't going to talk you guys' ear off. I've been talking too much today. Anyway, I appreciate everybody for jumping in here with me and getting instant reactions. Make sure you do the necessary by sharing the video at The War Report out there on social media. Like the video before you get out of here. Give me that great thumbs up. We are at The War Report on Twitter and Instagram, TW Report on TikTok. Be back at you guys tomorrow morning with the Morning Drop, talking a lot more Auburn sports. Appreciate you guys so much. Till the next time, and as always, War Eagle, I'm out of here. Peace.